Oh, my Lord.
You're the wrong name. Okay. Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that. No. See them play our yeah.
My wife and I had the pleasure of watching our 20-month grandson on Friday this summer last week.
Amen. You're a France fan?
My daughter-in-law's
Are you a
pregnant
France
again,
fan?
so they did a
Or you just think
baby
they're gonna
moon, I
win?
think they call it. So we went downtown for the weekend. So they said we could watch. It's like, it was great, kids great, but it's like,
That's work.
I'm still exhausted.
That is some serious hardcore work and patience.
I had no issues, it's just, I'm not used to paying attention to anything.
Minute by minute, second by
Right.
second.
Yeah.
That's why young people have babies.
Yeah.
That's better. Time is perfect though.
Hmm?
20 months and then pregnant again.
Yeah. Yeah, they're, she's on wealth management side of BMO Harris. My son's an accountant by trade. He's chief financial officer for a small investment company in Milwaukee. So based on what they do, they have, their whole life is a schedule. You know, they got married, then they bought a house, then they had a dog, then they had a kid, then they bought a car, then they bought another kid.
And then the spreadsheet on the dog was about that thick.
Well, that was easy because they, I guess their whole family has Shih Tzus.
Okay, good choice. Good dog.
Dad had one growing up, and then sister had one, so brother had one, so we're just gonna get one. And he's fine now. He used to be kind of a pain. Now he's
The
real
baby or
nice.
the dog?
My grandnephew is almost 19 months.
19 months, yeah.
That'll be, should I say, yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Good evening, everyone. As is now 7 o'clock, I would like to call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of June 25th to order with a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Evans. Absent. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Saborn. Absent. Commissioner Swoboda.
Here.
Commissioner Straightback.
Here,
Commissioner Weber here. Chairman Grund.
Here. First order of business is approval of the minutes from the May meeting, the May 28th meeting. Comments, concerns, edits? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve said minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Straka,
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who have never been with us before, get this out of the way right away. We are an advisory committee, so we advise the village board. The village board has the final say. We may vote on things today. The board takes it under advisement, but again, they have the final say on the matters we discuss and vote on tonight. That being said, this portion of the meeting, again, for those who haven't been with us, is a public comment on any issues that aren't on today's agenda. So, any of the commissioners have any public comments tonight? Hearing none. Anybody from the audience have public comment on any issues, gripes, concerns about the village? Hearing none, we'll move on. On to old business, which is a continuation of the public hearing case number 2605 at 8905 Plainfield Avenue, which was before us in May. The petitioner had some homework to do, and obviously they are still working through that. So they would like the case to be, we had continued it till tonight. They don't have everything in order yet, so they're going to continue the case to the July 23rd meeting. So that being said, I'll entertain a motion at this time to continue case 2605 to July 23rd, 2026 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Straka,
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Off we go. First case tonight in new business is a public hearing case number 2609, a request for a variation from Section 62-75 bulk yard and space requirements to allow an increase in the maximum building coverage from 30% to 36% to allow a detached garage in an existing A single-family district for the property located at 3734 Raymond Avenue. This case is a request for a variation which triggers a public hearing. I'd like to entertain a motion to open public hearing for this case.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Straka,
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Because this is a public hearing, I'm going to ask that the petitioner and anybody that would like to comment on this particular case to stand so I can swear you in. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Alex Oxy,
Swear the testimony I am about to give
swear the testimony I'm about to give
is the truth,
is the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Great. If you could come to the mic and state your name again, and the floor is yours to state your case, and then we'll follow up with the staff report.
Good evening, I'm Alex Hoxie. Do I need to spell it or anything? No. I live at 3734 Raymond. I've been there for about 9 years. My wife and I are trying to build a small 1.5 car detached garage. It's our understanding the house had a garage previously before we moved in, but it was torn down for some reason that we're not entirely sure about. Where the footprint of the existing structure is the same footprint as the previous structure, which is right now just a paved asphalt parking pad. We're under contract with Stanley Garage Builders. They're in permit review right now. I think that's it for the big.
Questions of the petitioner?
The fence that's currently there, the wood
Mhm.
fence that's around the parking pad, is that going to be removed, or will that remain?
Yeah, that'll get demoed with when the garage gets built. Except for maybe the section, between the garage and the neighbor's garage, which has our gate.
Okay.
Any other questions of the petitioner? Okay. If you could have a seat, and just in case we have to be recalled. Staff, the floor is yours.
Okay, 3734. I will premise this whole thing that ever since these two petitions I keep getting them confused. So I don't know why. They're close to each other, they're very similar, and so I apologize for all of my confusion over the last couple of weeks. Anyway, I'm getting older. Here's a survey. You can see the what we'll call a parking pad right now along the alley there, which was what the old garage was. There's the front of the house. Of course, there's the environs there. It's zoned A, single family, as all the surrounding properties are. This is the parking pad. You can see the fence that I guess you talked about, Commissioner. As always, have the plans. It's not a huge garage, as he said, 1.5 cars. I'll call it 2-car garage, but it's a small 2-car garage. The height is fine. They dimension it to the peak. Of course, we dimension garages as the mean, but it works. Pretty much a standard garage. Got the amendment 6275. This is a 30% to 36% coverage. And the numbers, I have them in your thing. It goes up about 220 feet. From 1120, call it 1,130 square feet up to 1,350. So give or take 220 additional feet. They did submit responses to these standards of review as always, and I've just forgotten the section number. This section in the zoning ordinance where that comes from. And we believe they meet those standards, and back up. And we recommend approval of the variation request for this garage to be built. For all the reasons for garages, getting the cars off the street and all that good stuff too.
Questions of staff? Although there's nobody from the public present, I do have a letter that
Oh, I forgot.
we received. I'd be happy to read it. This is from David Saldko at 3718 Raymond. My family located at 3718 Raymond is delivering this message in favor of the increase of the maximum building coverage from 30 to 36% for the property at 3734 Raymond Avenue. The increase in building coverage, allowing for the construction of a detached garage, is favorable to us. It will likely improve the value of the home in question and the block as a whole. In addition, the purpose of the code section appears to be mitigate stormwater runoff on the property. There is minimal functional difference between a garage and an open parking pad in the amount of stormwater runoff experienced by the block, and as such, we see no downside to the increase. That's a good neighbor. It's quite a nice letter, actually. Any other questions of staff or the petitioner at this time? Okay, I will entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of the hearing and open up the discussion to the commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Strata. Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Floor is open, fellow commissioners.
I'm in favor of the variance request due to the substandard lot size of 30 feet versus the typical lot size of 50 feet wide.
I agree.
As do I. Again, with the any downspouts directing water onto the subject property.
Yep, beautiful job on the house.
You want to do it? Sure. I have no additional comments.
I'm going to recommend approval of case 26-09 for variation from 62-75 bulk yard space requirements to allow an increase in the maximum building coverage from 30 to 36%, to allow a detached garage in an existing family existing single-family district for the property located at 3736 Raymond Avenue with the following conditions. The property shall be developed in substantial completion with compliance with the plans prepared by Stanley Garage Builders submitted within the application, and any gutters and downspouts shall be directed towards the private property rather than the alley.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Strata.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. First step complete. This matter will go before the President and Village Board of Trustees at their July 13th meeting. All the best to you, sir. On to the next case. Similar to the last case, public hearing Planning and Zoning Council, case number 2610, a request for variation from section 62.75 bulk yard and space requirements to allow an increase in the maximum building coverage from 30% to 32.27% to allow a new detached garage in an existing A single-family residential district for property located at 3741 Morton Avenue, Brookfield, Illinois. This case is a request for variation which triggers a public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to open said hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Straka,
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye, Chairman Grund.
Aye. So just like the last case, petitioner and any public comment, please stand and raise your right hand so I can swear you in. I state your name.
I, Andrew Dockweiler,
Swear the testimony I am about to give
swear the testimony I am about to give
is the truth,
is the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Please approach the mic, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I'm the homeowner, and the current state is we have a dilapidated old garage. That garage door is parallel with the alley, and next to it we have a big concrete kind of driveway. The plan is to build a new garage where the concrete driveway is, demolish the old garage and turn that into grass, because the new one's gonna open up into the alley. And the variation is for the building space, because we'd like to be 660 square feet for 2 cars, plus lawn equipment and toys. And that's allowed by the lot size, but it puts us over the house plus garage size.
Questions of the petitioner? Hearing none, if you have a seat, and we'll call you in reserve if need be. Staff, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'll back up. Here we go. This is the larger lot than the last one. It's, I measured it this afternoon for fun. It's about 365 feet from the other one we just heard. So we got these things in the same neighborhood. Maybe that's why I keep getting them confused. Anyway, you can see on the top upper right-hand corner of the survey, the existing garage, of course, the driveway to the south of it, I guess that is. That's where the new garage will go. And it's great that the old garage and the concrete pad are removed and returned to green space. So that's a plus. Here's the house, 2-story brick house. Oh, you know, I was going to put the picture of you with your public hearing sign on there, and I didn't do that. So anyway, it's zoned A. It's zoned A all the way around it. There's the dilapidated garage, and of course you can see the driveway there, so side load garage, and that's where the new garage goes. The old garage goes away. This is the right numbers, so it's about 213 square feet over the maximum. 30% of the lot should be 2,250. This is 2,463, so 213 feet over. Not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. And the drawings, we went around with the architect on these a little bit because he didn't like our numbers, but we won that. And you know, the garage meets the code, the height, and all those sorts of things. There it is again. And, you know, we're recommending approval of this variation request, just like the last one. They've met these standards, and there you go. Recommended approval.
Questions of staff?
Yes. I forget, is the eave allowed to be in the side yard setback?
I'd say yes.
Okay.
Other questions of staff? Hearing none?
I make a motion to approve.
You have to close the hearing.
Hmm?
You have to close the
Oh,
hearing.
sorry.
I'm sorry about
You're
that.
right. My bad. I need that back. Thanks, Scott. That's it. I'll now entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of the hearing and open up the discussion to the commissioners, which I already did prematurely. I apologize.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Straka,
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye, Chairman Grund.
Aye. So we already had Todd's comment, and again, I apologize for that. So, there you go, sir.
I'll entertain a motion at this time to recommend approval of the variation from 62-75 bulk yard and space requirements to allow an increase in the maximum building coverage from 30% to 32.27% to allow a new detached garage subject to the following conditions. The property shall be developed in substantial compliance with the plans prepared by 3SI Incorporated dated 4/21/26, last revised 5/1/26, submitted with the application. Any gutter downspouts shall be directed towards the private property rather than into the public alley.
Were you making that motion or entertaining a motion?
Suggesting or offering?
So
Making a
moved.
motion. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Good luck to you, sir. And again, this will be before the Board of the President and the Board of Trustees on July 13th. All the best. Okay. So now we're all gonna be guinea pigs, and Libby will explain why in a minute, but this is, the next order of business tonight is a discussion of property improvement grant request for signage and facade improvements for GoodxTimes Barbershop, PLLC at 3501 Maple Avenue. This is a public meeting to review the property improvement program, grant applications for facade improvements and signage improvements. There are two separate requests. I'd like to ask staff for a brief overview of the program, as this is our first time hearing these requests. Libby, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Grund. So as you noted, this is the first time this matter is coming before the PZC. Prior to that, all property improvement program applications were decided, and the applications were filed with the Economic Development Commission. The board made the decision to implement and adopt an economic incentive policy, which was adopted sometime in December of 2025. And as part of that, we took all the applications and all the different programs that the village offers, and we evaluated where they would be best served and which commission it should go to. So because the Planning and Zoning Commission reviews architecture, site plans, design, it seemed appropriate to bring the facade portion of that to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the board approved that within our property improvement program. So signage, if it's only an application for signage, that's still being decided by the Economic Development Commission for businesses. If it's facade, it comes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And if it's both, so the board did increase it from 20,000 total to 22. So you can add the signage of maximum of 2,000 and 20,000 for the facade. That's all going to be heard before the Planning and Zoning Commission. So the petitioners have the distinction of being the first applicants before the Planning and Zoning with their property improvements.
Thanks for that explanation. Any questions of staff at this point before we get started? Okay, will the applicant please step, it's not a public hearing, so I don't have to swear anybody in, right? Great. The applicant come forward and make a presentation regarding the grant requests. Come to the mic and please state your names and address, please. And the mic is yours.
Awesome. Hi. Good to see you guys. Thanks for having us. We're Mike and Jessa from GoodxTimes Barbershop. I don't even know where to start. So basically, we've been open since August of 2022. When we first opened, we purchased the building. I believe prior to that, I don't know the exact year our existing building at 3501 was open, but I think it was abandoned for 13 plus years. And then maybe some people that are from here longer know a little bit better, but Linda Sokol had owned the property for a little, gutted, flipped the inside, and then we were able to purchase from them. And then we turned it into our barbershop. So we've always known about the PIP grant ever since we first talked with, like, when Paul worked here, seeing if our zoning worked for barbershop stuff, and they always told us, and it was, Kendra was the first person I probably talked to when we were first opening, when I was like, oh my gosh, there's a young girl here, like, I thought I was gonna have a wall of something, like, just doubting us of buying and opening everything. So she had printed out everything of where we'd be able to put a sign if we got the PIP grant, all that fun stuff. So that has always been in our mind of wanting to go after, but it was always, of course, our first time opening the business, getting everything running smoothly, figuring out taxes as independent contractors for the first time. So now we're in a place where we feel confident and ready to put time and energy into this improvement on our building of the outside exterior. And I do know it needs it, like that, the shingles, there's birds in it right now. So I just think it's a really good time with the beautifying of the fountain that we went through, it getting reconstructed and us being there. They got the sheds are all getting all redeveloped. I feel like there's a focus on 8 corners right now. So to know that we could hopefully get this going and fix our outside to match our inside is why we're really motivated to get it done sooner than later, and to have exterior lighting that works and a building that doesn't look like it's still closed down. And I always joke that it looked like an old oil change place with if anyone's familiar with the building, we did so much work to it ourselves too. Like, I know Linda paid to get the inside renovated with Beach Ave before it was Beach Ave. So we have photos of all the work, sweat equity we did of, like, painting the aluminum. Paul was still the main zoning or permit guy. All the things when we did the resale inspection thing, we fixed everything on that. I think the first month we got the signage removed, which was that giant billboard sign and then the billboard in the back. So I'd love to, like, if they wanted to look at any of the photos, I'm wondering if the main thing is just figuring out, you guys, I'm assuming as zoning and planning, are gonna just check with our quotes what we're getting done is worth what we're asking for of it, so all that money is being used properly, and also that everything that we'd like to upgrade on the exterior facade falls in the realm of what this PIP grant is for.
Questions of the petitioner at this point? I have a couple. Have you talked to staff about building permits if this goes ahead?
They said that we didn't need architect drawings regarding the awning, which is probably the biggest of all the fixes. Everything else is pretty minor, of, like, changing, like, soffits, metal, fixtures and everything like that. And then I didn't ask about, like, signing permits and all that stuff, but I don't think anything is out of code, because I think signing and everything has to be below your roof. I know there's the issue with the pig on top of Beach Ave going above, and that's why our one giant sign came down. It was above the
Right.
building.
Well, you would need a separate signage permit for sure.
Yes, yeah, as far as the other stuff, I didn't get as far as to know what the permits
Okay.
would be for.
And I'll explain why I'm asking. The drawings, and again, everybody's guinea pigs here, right? And you seem like you're really anxious to get this done and beautify the property, which we all appreciate, right? That said, some of the images that you sent us, or me particularly as an architect, it's hard to figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I'd
frankly.
love to talk,
And
absolutely.
especially the main storefront, which I'm looking at what you have now, which
Yeah.
to me is, in terms of the division of the windows and the glass, is somewhat interesting. And then I see this picture of flat glass and.
They did that, yeah,
And,
sorry,
hold on,
yeah.
hold on. Flat
Yeah,
glass
I'll explain
and a
it.
6-panel, no disrespect, Home Depot solid door. You know, so that doesn't seem to me to be an improvement to the property.
No.
It seems like it's, you know, so it's hard for me to figure out, you know, what you really want to do.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that gets back to the question of the architecture, because I think if you're changing the storefront, which I didn't see in any of the quotes, you would need a permit for that. I'm not sure why you would need a permit, because you're pulling down if you do a roof, you need a permit for a roof.
Yeah, they said it'd be under a roofing permit.
Okay.
Yeah,
did they?
so just to clarify, the next step would be to apply for all the permits with our
Okay,
building
all right,
division manager.
and then that gets back to, you know, if you don't need an architect, and it doesn't appear that you have an architect yet, and the renderings frankly show that, you know, so I think it's, and we can get to that part in our discussion portion of it, so, but now at least I know the
Yeah.
process, yeah.
So, that's the big question. The old shingled mansard roof awning there, that's what Pac was worried. He's like, do they consider awning or roofing? And then they said that it would be considered an awning, that it wasn't structural, but everything's structural. So I guess the big question is what's beneath that, right? So the shingles right now, they're some type of aluminum connecting siding shingles. And the plywood behind it, because I believe it's at least from the 80s, if not possibly. I know the building was built in like 70, I believe. The awning might have gotten put on in the 80s, I think. And the reason that there's just a light acrylic sign is because all of the wood behind it is completely rotted, like smush, right? So the big question when I've talked with different contractors was, we don't know exactly what's behind it. I do know that it's a, what's the word for the concrete, I can't think of the word, but, what's, the stones, the gray stones? What'd you say?
Like masonry block?
Yeah, cinder block, sorry. It's cinder block building, right? So I think if that was removed, it might be cinder block. I don't know if the bricks went all the way up. This building at one point was just a flat roof storefront, and then they put the furnace on top of it, of the steel roof, and gabled it. So we just got our roof to get approved to get redone with our insurance. And the goal would be that when we get the roof done, that we could get the waterproofing over the edges and get our black metal standing seam metal awning replaced on that huge front of it that takes up like the biggest chunk of it. The windows are fine. I used to hate the little squares, but I like them because a few of them have a gas leak, and that's a simple $100 fix to redo the gas. We used to work at Brookfield Barber, and the issue with one solid piece of glass is that they get fogged up. They're not, you have to get really expensive if you want it to be clear all the time and in the winter. So I have fallen in love with our little squared things. So yeah, the biggest thing is having that black standing seam awning replaced that can actually hold channel lettered things. Because of the water issue of the damage to that wood, the electricity that's there, we switched out the can lighting when we first bought it, and it maybe only worked for a year, so I think there's an issue with the electricity behind there. And with that, it's a lot, but if we could get behind there, and if we're gonna take it down, I get to redo the electric, get better lighting so it's safer and looks better at night. We could put an exterior barber light. I'd like to put an exterior power like source, like a little extension, a box, an exterior box, so I could put Christmas lights, because we decorate for all the things. We do all the events with the town on the circle. Those benches were cheap. I think I'd really like to switch them to composite decking with iron. That would look nicer, be safer outside with the public when they do what they do outside. But yeah, we need a different awning if we want to change to have a signage that can actually be held up. And then as far as that, then it'd be just all the other metal to match it. And then there's the two siding on the sides. And those, it just looks like old house siding. We painted it when we first got it. It's falling apart. Behind it is plywood that's getting water damage. Like, it's just old building. We want to switch it to hardy. We're looking long-term. We bought this building in 2022. We've worked in the LaGrange, Brookfield area cutting hair for 10 years. We live on Deo. Like, we're gonna retire here. So any money that helps us to invest in this building is staying with us, staying with the town. And that's kind of what we're looking for.
Other questions of the
Well,
petitioners?
you answered my question. On page 51, it indicates that under siding, it could be vinyl, composite board, or hardy board, and you had mentioned you're going with a cement board siding.
Yeah, he put a full thing about the heart. I re-looked at one of the contracts, and they said that, and I think that'll
Thank
last
you.
longer.
And the door is gonna stay the same.
Yeah, that was Pac's rendering. I like my rendering because it showed it. The only other difference, because after I submitted the facade application, I got the final quotes for the signage and saw the different prices. The only thing we're gonna nix and get rid of is the circle with our logo light. We cut that out for the budget, so I could keep the signage bigger to be more legible for drivers. So I just didn't update that. I do have another photo rendering where it would get rid of, that. So it's just the GoodxTimes Barbershop signage on that one, cause it was gonna be like, I forgot, 8,000, we wanted to stick closer to 6,000, and then we'll get.
We actually have that in
Okay,
our
I did put
package.
that in, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. Okay, that, and then I didn't photo edit benches, and then as far as the color of the siding, I haven't even sat down with the contractors of which one we know we'll use to pick colors or anything. It feels very early in the process. It's more so to see if it's gonna be feasible now.
I do like the divided lights, the divided windows.
Yeah.
I think it adds charm, especially at night.
Yeah. And the biggest thing was the aluminum frames. They were aluminum when we bought the building, and one of the things was we did aluminum primer, we coated the windows to protect them, and we painted them black, and it gave it more of like a farmhouse look. So I think having standing seam black, we love brick. I would like to get some quotes separately from this and do tuck pointing on it. I think it needs it. That'll just help with that. And then we have like a 5-year plan of other fixes that we wanna do. We have a small business loan that helped us purchase the building. It matures 7 years, so we have 3 more years on it, and I've been saying this for a while now, but when I do that, I would like to redo the parking lot. That'll become another beautifying thing, so that's our heart. That's what we're working on, and I think we're gonna use the money to the best of its ability to fix this building and keep it here for a long time.
Other questions of the petitioner at this point? Okay, have a seat. We'll call you in reserve if we need to.
Thank you.
Staff, floor is yours.
Okay, comes back to me. We all know where the barbershop is. I don't go there very often, but I know where it is. I go by it twice a day. Of course, here's the building with the front, that we all like those divided glass fronts. I put the sides here, the view from Grund and the view from Maple, because of course we always talk about 4-sided buildings, and they're looking at doing all the sides, so that's a good thing. As he said, there's 2 requests. The signage is up to $2,000. The bulk of it, the exterior is up to $20,000. Both are 50% of the cost, the eligible cost. I'm going to blow through these because you've seen these are all in your packet with the Home Depot door. These were the numbers. These are all in your packet there. How they came up with these. The number we come to, the $19,000. Let me go down to that. So they got the 2 quotes as required by the program. You can see the PACC is $39,600. The other one was a little higher, $42,600. So that puts 50% at $19,800. Similarly, the signage, let's just come through here. Wrong way. Let's leave it here. Two signs, round numbers, 5910 and 763. So it comes down to $2,000 out of the $5,100 cost for the signage. And that's all she wrote. That's a very simple process of the cost, and the rest is up to you guys.
Questions of staff? Okay. As this is not a public hearing, we're going to do this a little more casually, so we're going to open discussion to commissioners. But we may need staff input, we may need petitioner input as we discuss things. Because like I said, this is the first for all of us, so bear with us and don't take anything personally. So, okay, I'll open in the commission for questioning and discussions. I just want to bring up a few points. So, having read kind of the PIP information, the PIP is intended to encourage exterior commercial property improvements and enhance the appearance and economic vitality of the village's commercial corridor. So I think that's one of the points that we should think about. There's also, and I haven't written it down, it also says that the PIP and correct me if I'm wrong, staff, can't be used for regular maintenance. You know, so I think it's within our purview to figure out, you know, how much of the money that the petitioner's asking is actually for enhancement and enhancing the appearance and economic vitality of the village's commercial corridors, and how much of it is for maintenance. And it's not their fault that the building has fallen into disrepair, I get that, but, so I think those are some of the things that we can keep in mind, and I'm sure you have other thoughts, so. Go ahead, Todd.
Sure. So in general,
Get to see.
in general, I like the intent, and I appreciate the materials that have been presented. I do struggle with what's been discussed versus what can actually occur through permitting and process, right? So I believe some of these items can be done without a true building permit. They could probably just be done with a maintenance permit, like roofing would, right? They wouldn't need an architect necessarily for that. So while I understand what the applicant desires, it's hard to understand with what actually would be built, right?
I share that struggle.
So then we wouldn't be able to learn that, it sounds like, because the permitting process comes after.
Well, we could ask for it, we could, yeah.
Okay.
So
We're talking about almost approaching this as a plan development, reviewing materials, colors, final decisions on a contract?
Again, I don't know what our latitude is. I think that that's the case, because I think we're charged with, are these upgrades really enhancing the facade significantly? And if so, then I think we should grant the money. But if not, is pulling the old mansard roof material off and fixing all the substrate behind it, to me, seems like maintenance, but, I don't know.
And if I can just,
You sure can.
talk about PIP, and this is new, so there's a lot that's within your purview to decide. The PIP program was specifically designed for the 3 TIF districts, which happen to have more distressed properties there. So there is some leeway in terms of considering what it would be general improvement to the area. So in other PIPs that have been decided, and the PIP went in 2021, there's another example right down the street on Broadway, what is that, Chris Watlin's building? Winnie's Playroom. So that's one example, if you're familiar with that, kind of kitty corner to Mary's. That building received the full PIP, and when the applicant applied for it, they were looking for only redoing the windows, and at that time, the EDC looked at the whole building and said, can you redo more of the structure, paint it, redo all the windows? So there was a discussion about beautifying it, and that's part of what the PIP is for, is to enhance some of the buildings. It's not for straight maintenance, though, tuck pointing, for example, but removing a mansard roof, if that's within the purview, updating outdated signage, removing monument signs, it is within that. As far as what kind of limitations you want to place on that, we're just trying to be cognizant within the grant and what applicants can do. So it's not a plan development per se, but you certainly have leeway with architectural standards, renderings, if additional renderings are needed. For the permit process, so they will have to go through the permit process for signage and so forth. Architectural renderings are not required per se, but it really depends on the project. There could be one where they might be required. So I don't know if that helped or.
Go ahead.
Could you read through also on the improvement grant application, like overlapping? It says that eligible expenses, for the exterior facade renovations is repair and replacement of damaged structural or decorative elements, new construction of structural or decorative facade elements, siding and exterior treatments, cornices, latticework, shutters, windows and doors, including energy efficient upgrades and exterior lighting. So that's why I brought up that it was damaged, because I thought that was.
Right, completely understood.
And that is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel, first of all, to say that I think this business is a great addition to that area. I mean, that is such a tiny building, that, you know, what you've done and what is in there now, I think it really has added to Eight Corners, and every time I drive by there, it just looks like there's activity going on. So I'm happy to see that, and I'm happy to hear that you would like to make these improvements to the building, and I think what they've shown us in terms of the signage would be more readable to folks who are driving around the circle, because it's not always easy to read something while you're trying to avoid an accident driving around the circle, or even those that are walking or biking. So to me, it looks like, you know, it would be an enhancement to Eight Corners.
Just the signage or everything?
Well, I think it depends on what we have to, you know, what we can include, I guess I'll say. So whatever is allowed to be included in this, you know, I would be in favor of it in order to improve it.
So let me throw back at staff. In terms of, you know, we've heard a little bit more clarity today from the petitioner in terms of, oh, we're not gonna do that storefront, we're gonna keep this storefront. I think the mansard roof is pretty clear what they're gonna do, but, and they wanna do black, but they haven't picked out the siding colors, or, you know, because with hardy plank siding, for instance, you could do a lot more, for the same cost, you could do a lot more interesting infill in that siding than the lap siding that's there now, which is pretty terrible, frankly. You know, so I think, you know, so I guess back to staff is, what is your, if this gets approved and gets approved by the board, what is the end expectation?
Well, we would
What do you
expect
think you're
it-
gonna see?
Well, we would expect it to look similar to the plan that they're providing, and the more detailed plans would be once they receive their permits. But if there's specific conditions, so for example, if this board said, we would like to see a hardy board that is X color as part of this grant, that would be within your purview. Or we don't want to see the 6-panel door. That would be a condition that would be placed on that. Previously, when some of the PIP facade grants have been approved, it was just based off of the general plan of what the petitioner was applying for in terms of overall improvement. And the PIP is really there designed to, in recognition of business owners trying to beautify the properties.
If I may,
Yep.
some of our recent PIP for exterior facade include Irish Times and Tischler's. One of the objectives of the program is to improve the appearance of the building. As Libby mentioned, if you had a request to consider in the PIP application, we could add that as a condition. They would go through the permitting process and get all the required permits for the roof, for signage. So that would all be met, and if it did require architectural plans, that would be required as well. So we do want to see improvement on public-facing streets in a TIF district to make the appearance of a building better. And most of the applications that have come through since 2021 included such improvements. If you remember the Style House on Grand Boulevard, they had a similar type of request with the signage and with colors. It wasn't necessarily doing hardy work that would require architectural plans. But I'm happy to answer any other questions about prior PIP submissions that may help guide you.
No, if you don't need an architect, that's great, as much as I love architects. But I guess, you know, going forward, we're setting, I can't say that word with Jennifer, we're setting a precedent here, depending on what we allow, what we don't allow. I guess, being frank, I'd like an image of what this thing's gonna look like. And I don't have that now, frankly. Because now I hear, well, we're gonna keep this storefront, we're not gonna do the other storefront that was in the package. And we're gonna do hardy plank siding, but that's not really what's rendered. So I don't know, and maybe I'm asking too much. I don't know. What do you think?
What I'm hearing from what Libby said is that it can start out being more of a conceptual plan, and then as the process moves forward, then the details
Right.
are worked out. But is that something that we need to review?
You
I mean,
can. It
At one
depends.
level.
Well,
we
it
do-
depends on the scope of the project, so a facade could be a $5,000 facade. Architectural plans are not generally required for certain projects anyway, but especially for one that's on a smaller scale here, because we're trying to encourage, encourage business owners to avail themselves of the funds. But that being said, because they are village funds, you do have leeway. This is on the higher end because it's the maximum that's being offered. So you do have leeway and conditions that you can certainly put on it, and this is the right forum to talk about it. If there's, if you don't like the signage, if the windows, there's a different recommendation for that. And certainly, the petitioner could also answer if there's additional questions on that. So all of those conditions would be put into place before they then apply for the permits. Well, it has to go to the board, so once the board approves it, then they would apply for the permits.
You see, and that's what you had mentioned, Karen, that's my worry a little bit is if we don't put the conditions on it, and I'm not sure we could get all the conditions tonight, I don't know, but
Right.
if we did, if we
Right.
didn't, then we will never know what it's gonna look like, right?
Right.
I mean, I assume they were doing new storefront with this, with no disrespect to Home Depot, but with the Home Depot door, until I heard otherwise tonight,
Yeah,
so.
right. So if we don't have all the information,
So your packet does include the current renderings of what the building looks like, and if you notice the current drawings, and then you compare it to the proposed drawings.
Right.
I do see, I did, the door change, was that,
So,
Yeah, because the,
door is the hatch that's visible from the street. So the door that was mentioned in it, that's the weird thing with the property.
there, that's what I'm talking about.
So that rendering was from PACC, when we first started talking.
You
with
said
them.
that earlier, I understand that.
And he was focused on just showing us with the black metal seam and then getting our roof done.
Right.
So he
Okay.
had said on the app that they use that he couldn't find a clear door to show. So the windows and door for the storefront is how it is, it's gonna stay how it is, how we have it.
So now you understand
Okay.
our confusion,
Yeah,
right? Because this
yeah,
was,
yeah.
this was in our
Yeah, in
package
the
as
picture,
proposed, right?
And when we first talked, when I talked with him and he made that rendering, he knew that we were doing black standing seam, but he and I hadn't talked in person yet fully about the options for siding. And if there was input, I would love it. I just hate our cheap residential siding that's on there, and I wanted something that can last long-term. I knew hardy board is something, but I was asking about other options of something that will be last long, resilient, not gonna fall apart from the wind like it is now. It seems like hardy board is a good option. He was also talking about, like the vinyl plank, composite and other things, but maybe just hardy board. And if you have input on color, like we're fine. We just know we're not gonna paint the building black.
And, let me add, the door they're speaking about, is there,
I could show
a
a better
side
photo.
picture of
So the
the
door
building?
that we wanna change, and they're calling it a door, and this is where it gets into nitpicking of what's allowed or not allowed with this grant, is in the specifics of what is allowed to be covered in it, it says up to a roof line. So we have a dormer that's visible from the street, and that dormer is our access door to our furnace. So whenever we have to maintenance it, we have to get in there. That thing is like this cheap 80s, like shingles on it, the door's kind of whatever, but you see it from every angle,
it sounds like this process could be helpful to the applicant, especially our commission, because we have architects on our commission, that if it sounds permissible for them to give, for you guys to give recommendations to the applicant, like she was saying. I mean, is that something that, is the
Absolutely.
intent of?
That's the
of our
whole intent
discussion?
of moving it to the planning and
Okay.
zoning. With previous PIP applications, this would have been the site plan that was approved, and then they would come in for permits. Here, there is an opportunity to have that dialogue with the petitioner and make recommendations or even conditions, if there's specific ones, especially when it's a grant that's a maximum grant. And this is the right forum for site design or any other.
And do you have a photo of, our neighbor Raj at the dental?
They did
full
one too.
amount, And they also bought their building, they did it their first year. And they did pretty similar in a sense where they redid some of the stuff, some of it was painted, new signage, and they got the full extent. I think they did a little bit more because their 2 stories are a little bit less, and then they changed the exterior lights.
Yeah, that's
And
the
they
dental
kinda-
office.
Yeah, and that, even though it's little fixes, those little fixes make a huge impact. Which I'll say with us, like, removing the sign, painting some things, cleaning it up, removing weeds, like, those little impacts can be a bigger impact, for sure.
Just, I'm sorry, just the little bit that we did when we first bought the building, if any of y'all were driving by while we were doing it, we painted the square windows, and we painted the underneath the soffits ourselves, and just the little bit of paint that we threw on it, like, just updated it so much more for us. And just these fixes, like fixing all the way around, I think will bring more eyes to the circle and like our building, but while driving by, I think it'll be a nice add-on to the circle, along with all the work that the town did to the fountain, and all that. Just the little bits that we're trying to fix here, I think will be really nice to anyone driving by.
I think so too, and that's why I think we should take the opportunity to have some input on what the finished product is gonna look like in terms of the type of siding and a direction toward color. Maybe not the specific color, but, I remember what was Harp's Realty, was upon a time. And then, it's vacant for a while, and I worked on the interior for Linda Sokol Harps to bring the interior cleaned up to code, at least before you purchase the property. So I'm very happy to see something happen with this building. When you first opened, I was happy to see that, but now to make these improvements and bring more focus, so to speak, and activity recognizable to everybody is a great idea. I feel the same way Commissioner Grund did mentioned about a lot of these things. I think that the siding the color should be complementary to the brick or the framing of the windows.
I think a dark color, darker gray, it's already gray right now, I wouldn't wanna go far from that.
Yeah,
He threw that on there, I didn't choose that color, that was the grid
We painted that siding twice.
twice, cause he chose the first color, and I hated it, I knew it.
And we painted the whole
It was
thing.
green, it was terrible.
We went back to the store and bought more paint.
Have you for the infill of the elevation that we're seeing there in the lower part that has the window, have you considered a face brick that's a thin brick as opposed to the vinyl or the hardy brick, or hardy siding, excuse
Would
me?
that compete? I was wondering that too, where if it could look nice.
I think depending on the manufacturer, lot of options available
Yeah,
for
like a
brick,
different
that you might be
texture.
able to find something that's very similar, or sensitive enough to it, that it may match. Because right now, there's such a distinction, it's kind of,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think Todd makes a good point. You know, because you'd still have to do a complementary color, because you'd never find a brick to match your existing brick. You know, so I think Chris's comment about, you know, a color that's complementary to the brick rather than, you know, because again, look at that. I mean, you don't need an expert to tell you that, you know, it doesn't look that good.
It's like a charcoal brick. It
Yeah,
would look good.
that, you know, and I think with the black metal roofing on the mansard roof, which I'm gonna keep calling it a mansard roof, because that's what it is, I think that would be better. And I don't have, is there any issue with the mansard roof? Because I think that probably is gonna turn out just fine.
I would say on
The metal standing seam?
not the metal standing
No.
seam, but the entry into the furnace area, here it's shown graphically in a white.
Yeah.
I think it should be black to
Yeah.
match.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what I think so too, yes.
Right, because there's no reason for it to stand out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't choose any colors yet, like this is just what he had rendered quickly, but you can easily see that it should be a different color for sure. It should be dark and blend in.
Including the service store.
Yes. Agreed. And instead of neon green benches, they will match too. Even though those are very, people love them.
What else? All right, I'm gonna say this. You know, again, this is a first for us. I think I'd hate for the petitioner to come back with drawings that are more recognizable in terms of what the end product's gonna be. It doesn't seem fair, because I appreciate their enthusiasm, and I think whatever they do will be, you know, and again, architecture, a lot of people argue with me all the time, is, I think in many respects it's subjective. You know, what he likes, I don't. What Jennifer likes, Todd doesn't, you know, so, but I think the mansard itself, in terms of standing seam metal roofing, is gonna be a big benefit. It'll show off the new sign. I have no issue with the sign. So, I'm prepared to offer a motion with some conditions, if the rest of us are willing.
So I do
Go ahead.
recall that in past cases, on occasion, we would leave some final decisions in staff's very capable hands.
Absolutely.
You
In
could
terms of
offer, the
material
commission
color.
can offer additional, recommend additional enhancements or to materials. If there's certain aesthetics, those can all be appropriately recommended. They could be conditions, or they can just be suggestions to the proposed plan. Once it comes down to the actual permitting, they're going to have to submit all the things that comply. But as far as the aesthetics, the material, any other items, you can offer all of those.
So then, that's kind of our wish list, right?
Mhm, right.
What if it exceeds the budget?
Yeah.
Well, and that's where it comes down to, you know, the petitioner, the scope of their project, and what's realistic. Some can be conditions, some can be recommendations. This is an especially appropriate forum, because you can offer suggestions to the proposed plan that aren't necessarily conditions to the grant itself. And this is why it's with you.
All right, well, let's talk about the conditions / recommendations. I feel strongly about the existing storefront to remain as a condition, not a recommendation.
Including the divided lights in the
Yeah,
window.
that's the whole
Yes.
storefront system.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Is that true for the side, or are you just checking?
Just the main entry storefront, I'll call it. How's that? Because I don't want to see what's on that. I don't want to see what's on there. And I think, you know, I'll call it a doghouse, the roof doghouse. to match the color of the black, because you're gonna do the black sanding seam roof. That was in both quotes that I read. So I think that should be a condition, yeah.
Yes.
Elimination of the six-panel door. Oh, we covered that.
We
one.
covered that, right. Yeah,
And the service door should be, also be.
Black.
Black.
yeah. Yeah, I'll put door, okay. The infill siding, I'll call it, I'll leave it at that. The infill facade material, in deference to Todd. I think that should be a recommendation to make it something complementary to the existing brick. I mean, I don't know if I want it. What do you feel about it? How do you feel about that? Making a condition or recommendation?
I feel,
Because if this gets to be an affordability issue, frankly, they could leave the gray siding the way it is, right? Which we don't want, but.
I think recommendation is sufficient.
But the existing siding is a black or a gray?
It's gray.
Gray.
Currently, like a dark gray, like a charcoal.
Is it really charcoal? I just drove past it today. It looked lighter to me.
Sometimes maybe a little lighter than charcoal.
It was a sunny day,
Like,
that's
you know
why.
how siding is, you can't go too dark, they don't sell, like, I got that paint at Sherwin-Williams,
Mhm.
and siding colors, it's really hard to get, like, darker than that, they don't really make them because they don't wanna warranty.
Yeah, Hardy might be the,
Yeah, and
way
that
to
was
do
the
it.
thing, like, he and I, because he's like, I already put Hardy as the quote, he's like, that is a whole system. He's like, I can't change that on you because I'm telling them that we're using this type of material that costs this, so I don't wanna change that.
right.
So, but I don't know what that looks like, so that is something I'm very flexible on and willing to
Because
look
there
at.
are other products just like Hardy.
Yeah,
Hardy's a brand name.
Yeah.
There's, composite, wood-like composite materials that are just like Hardy plank. They're all pretty much in the same price point, but there's other alternatives to Hardy plank.
yeah, and like, since we've owned it for the past few years, like, he knows we drive through neighborhoods and I'm looking at all the buildings that have a similar style as ours, and I'm like, what did they do to update it or make it look a little nicer? And there is one in town, I forgot which one it is, it almost looks like a stucco style on the
Mhm.
side, I think that looks cool, I just
Yep.
feel like the siding that's there now, it looks like siding on an RV or something,
Mhm.
like, it's just not.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that's why I think we should call it, facade material, because you could do stucco complementary color to the brick too.
Yeah, that
That's,
would look really
you
cool
know,
too, I agree.
But again, you got two little areas to do, so I don't know what that price point would be,
Yeah.
so.
Should be a condition, recommendation.
A condition,
How do you define the condition, a durable?
I think,
Complimentary.
Hard
just
or
complimentary
equal.
too, 'cause if the village is upfront, or essentially paying for this, I think we should have some say in it.
yeah,
So confirming that the existing vinyl siding will be removed and replaced with an
Complimentary.
upgraded complementary durable.
Yeah, upgraded, I like the word upgraded.
but how far do we go in defining what that material is? Because we've talked about thin brick, we've talked about composite wood, I won't use the word hardy. Stone, stucco,
Is composite, what was the stuff that Matt said he was getting for his house? Is it composite? Not vinyl something, it's not vinyl.
The LP or.
LP is another, that's, LP and hardy are the same. It's just composite
So I
wood,
think
it's called.
He said that, and he's like, it just depends on the look, do you want vertical lines with it?
You could do
Which I
vertical,
kinda like the
you could do
thought.
flat panels, and you could do,
Yeah. Wainscoting.
or you could do,
Yeah,
you could do strips to match your storefront squares.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
battens. There's lots you could do.
Or in back style.
Vertical would make the building look taller as
Yep.
opposed to.
Yeah,
Look at
'cause I
you.
think if we
Wider.
do horizontal with the bricks you're fighting, it's already long, and the vertical could break it up. Yeah. And so that's why I was talking with him, so whatever we do, we have to use what we quoted at. We don't wanna use something cheaper, because that's what we're asking for the money for.
I get it, yeah,
So that
okay.
money needs to be
Yeah.
used for what it's supposed to, and that's what
What else? Is that vinyl siding that's existing? Do you know? So that's why you had trouble painting it. Doesn't work. I've tried everything. Anything else? I'll take a shot at it. I'll do the hard one first, because I don't think the signage is, I don't think we don't have a question about the signage, right? I think signage is good.
Oh, and then also there's the siding on the back of the building that's visible from Maple. I just wanna make sure like if that would match siding that's there.
Okay.
Right now, it's like a breathable aluminum, so he didn't put it in the rendering, but I pointed it out to him, so they're gonna put,
Let me ask this, is it existing deteriorated siding, is that fair?
it's red, and
Okay.
it's visible from the street,
And that's on the rear of the building?
yes.
All right, so we could say, in all areas where you have existing deteriorating siding,
Yeah.
you're gonna replace with the same material in all areas.
So it's consistent on all sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Anything else? All right, I'll take a shot. All right, I'll entertain a motion at this time to recommend approval of the facade grant request of $19,800 for property improvement grant request at 3501 Maple Avenue with the following conditions. All areas of existing deteriorated siding will be replaced with an infill facade material complementary to the existing brick masonry. Condition number 2, the existing main entry storefront system will remain as is. Condition 3 would be the black doghouse and door for roof HVAC access will be painted black to match the new mansard metal standing seam roofing material.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Second motion is a recommendation to approve the signage grant request of $2,000 for the sign as shown in the rendering above.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda.
Aye.
Commissioner Straka.
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Congratulations, we got through this. I appreciate, we appreciate, your attitude in upgrading this property. I, like many of the commissioners, probably drive past this 3 times a week. And I do appreciate the activity it generates, and I think this will only get better. I think we've all learned a little something here for next time around. I wish the renderings presented were a little bit better to understand, and that's no reflection on you. But had, we had a clear picture, we probably wouldn't have been here this long, but it's fine, it all worked out. So, this matter will go before the President and Village Board of Trustees on July 13th. All the best. Other business. Do we have a department update from staff?
Not at this
None.
time.
Then, do I have a motion to adjourn the planning and zoning meeting for June 25th at 8:10?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Svoboda,
Aye.
Commissioner Straka,
Aye.
Commissioner Weber, aye. Chairman Grund.
Aye. Thanks, everyone. That was fun.
I'm a planner for work too, I stayed.
I was like, oh, he's gonna talk about the next time.
we appreciate you staying.